Testing audio. Testing audio live stream. Testing.
All right, councillors. I wish to declare open the ordinary meeting of the Greater Hume Shire Council, Wednesday, 15 July 2020. In accordance with the Council's Code of Meeting Practice, this council meeting is being recorded and will be placed on Council's webpage for public information. All present today are reminded that by speaking, you are agreeing to your view and comments being recorded and published. You are also reminded that if or when speaking, you are to be respectful to others and use appropriate language. Greater Hume Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures during this meeting. I'm call on Councillor O'Neill to lead us in prayer this evening. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all of your blessings. We ask for your strength and guidance throughout this meeting and thereafter as we look to serve the residents of this Shire. We ask for clear thinking and sincere hearts as we approach the business matters we will be discussing shortly. We ask for your blessings upon this meeting, each participant and the work and people they represent. Amen.
Thank you. Acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri people, and I pay my respect to their elders past and present. We have one apology, councillors, from Councillor Shilg, Councillor Meyer and Councillor O'Neill. Moved and seconded. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item number 5, confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Seconded. Councillor Parker, do you wish to comment? No. Is there any discussion, any questions, any opposition? I declare that carried. Thank you. Item number 6, action report from the minutes. comments?
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Page 1, the question on notice on the financial training workshop, that's been in our list since 2017. And we're only 10% progressed, so do we need to keep that happening or?
Yes, I'm not sure.
Through you, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, I'd like to keep it on there because it's sort of moved on from the financial training. As part of that, it showed like a financial dashboard that was part of the training package that was shown, and we are endeavouring to build that dashboard into our reporting, and we're anticipating that we'll have something ready to go by the first budget review in this financial year.
Any further comments or questions, councillors? Councillor Weston.
Just one, Madam Mayor. At the last meeting, I congratulated Mr. Blackie on the work done at the bus stop at the St Joey School. I noticed that the road
in response to that, through you, Madam Mayor, we're aware of the situation and the contractor will relook at the issue to dig that section up and refix it. So it's been noted. It's just unfortunately times of wet weather. At certain times there are some soft spots appear, and but the contractor will come back and repair that.
Any further comments or questions, councillors? If not, we'll move on to disclosures of interests. Are there any? Nil, thank you. Moving right along, we have a mayoral minute. I might read it out, I think.
I'll move the recommendation, Madam Mayor, or did you want to read it first?
Yeah, I'll read it first, I
Righto.
think. Thank you. Resignation of Councillor Denise Knight. Correspondence has been received from Councillor Knight advising of her resignation from council, effected the Thursday 20th of August 2020. Councillor Knight and her husband Peter will be relocating to Victoria, and originally the timing would have aligned with the September 2020 local government elections. However, the deferral of the elections until 4 September 2021 has necessitated Councillor Knight resigning from council. Councillor Knight has had a very distinguished local government career spanning 33 years on the former Hume and later Greater Hume councils, the highlights of which are listed below. Regarding the Hume Shire Council, Councillor Knight was elected to council in 1987, servicing until the formation of the Greater Hume Shire Council on the 26th of May 2004. Served as Mayor from 1998 to 2004 and Deputy Mayor from 1996 to 1997. During the period of administration, along with the mayors of the former Culcairn and Holbrook Shire, participated in the Community Consultative Committee. In regards to Greater Hume Shire Council, Councillor Knight was elected council at the inaugural meeting in March 2005 and re-elected then in 2008, 2012 and 2016, and has continued to serve until her recent resignation. In regards to, where are we? The Local Government New South Wales Board Member, 2013 to 2017, Delegate to the New South Wales Rural Fire Service Liaison Committees, 2015 to 17, Delegate from Local Government New South Wales to the Fluoridation of New South Wales Waters Ministerial Advisory Committee, and a considerable community service as well, which is noted. Councillor Knight has also made an outstanding contribution to community organisations through membership of the following council committees and community organisations: Murray Arts, Apprenticeship Trainees Employment Limited, that's ATEL, Gindera UPA Gardens Hostel, Family and Friends Group, Gindera District Multipurpose Stadium Fundraising Committee, the St John's Lutheran Primary School Board, Albury Hume Local Emergency Management Committee, Albury Hume Bushfire Risk Management Committee, Albury Wodonga Domestic Violence Committee, and a member of the Gindra Rural Fires Service. Councillor Knight is most likely best known for spearheading the successful Hands Off Hume campaign in the early 2000s that resulted in a significant area of the Hume Shire being included in the proclamation of the Greater Hume Shire Council. Councillor Knight also can be extraordinarily proud of her achievements in her professional life, providing housing support for some of the most vulnerable people in our community. These clients had challenging histories and no long-term accommodation options, often due to their circumstances and their history. Despite backgrounds of domestic and family violence, abuse, mental health, incarceration, rough sleeping, eviction, these clients were heard, respected and empowered by Denise, who worked to change their lives through openness and honesty with no false expectations. Councillor Knight was highly regarded by her colleagues, support agencies and the many clients with whom she empowered to build new lives with respect, strength and dignity. She earned enormous respect from those who referred clients to her: police, Department of Corrections, mental health, homeless agencies, education, and the landlords and agents that house these complex clients recognised that they would be well supported in achieving a successful tenancy. Councillor Knight enabled many great results with homeless clients now living independently, responsibly and safely. Councillor Knight will be a huge loss to Council and to the community. However, her resignation is accepted with sincere regret. On behalf of Council, I wish Councillor Knight and her husband Peter every success and happiness as they enter an exciting new phase in their life together. Councillor Knight's achievements with Council will be celebrated with a function on Friday evening. And there is a recommendation there. And I think Councillor Meyer wishes to move that. Thank you. I move. I'll move, you second it. All right. I don't think we need to get all in favour, but I think everybody would like to vote all in favour of that. So that's carried. Thank you. Where are we? The reports from officers, the Environment and Planning, Part 1.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Hicks and Councillor Quinn. Moved and seconded. Councillor Meyer, question?
No, Madam Mayor.
Any comments or questions, councillors? Prepared to vote? Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item number 2, governance. Resignation of Councillor Knight. Consideration of dispensing with the by-election.
I'll move that recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Hicks and Councillor Parker. Comments or questions? Prepared to vote? Those in favour? Carried. Thank you unanimously. Yes.
I thought it was only once you were a day over half the term, it was all right, but obviously not.
Councillor Quinn, look, it's my understanding that you still have to seek ministerial approval. Anyway, that's what we'll do, and if I'm told it's not required, I guess I'll be told it's not required, but I'm pretty sure you still have to re-seek. It's the term, the act says from 18 months before the election is due, so, and there also are other options if there is a vacancy shortly after the previous election as well. But I'm quite certain that we'll have to seek ministerial approval for that.
I move the recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor O'Neill, want to second it?
Happy to second it.
Thank you. Councillor Parker, do you wish to comment?
I think that in this day of technology that we need to have a very good system, because live streaming will continue forever, I would say. And the fact that our staff have to lug those great big cases and boxes of equipment around everywhere is not good for their health and not good for the equipment to be moved all the time. I think that people will accept that it is going to be happening here, but we need to then include Colcan in as one of our other places for a meeting once a year.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I think it is a pity that we can't split the meetings between Colcan and Holbrook, and I think the setting up of the necessary equipment in Colcan will be much cheaper due to the cabling going through the town. And we currently get a good reception. We have got a good reception from Colcan office. I think it should be looked into more and just see what the costing is to do it in Colcan. Thank you.
Mr Smith?
Yeah, I'll comment, Madam Mayor. The cost is not necessarily going to be influenced by the NBN. The NBN capability in Holbrook compared to Colcan is probably no different, I wouldn't think, like what's actually out on the street for us to hook into. The cost is going to be actually installing the equipment in either here or, in your case, Colcan. So the cost, whether we did it here or whether we did it in Colcan, I think the cost would be the same. The reason for holding it here is simply that I think that we will have to have something like this for quite a while, this seating arrangement, and this is obviously a much bigger space than the Colcan chambers. Plus, by putting the equipment in here, it boosts the capability of the library here, and it's already used a lot for meetings with people who might have offices in Albury and Wagga, and they quite often meet here halfway. It just enables this facility to be marketed as a technology hub, if you like, for public use, which is probably not something that we would be able to do at Colcan in the chambers. So it would be a single-use installation over there, whereas here, in my view, it would be a multi-use installation. We could use it for council meetings, plus when the room's hired, all sorts of organisations could use it and have access to it.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to express my concern in support of Councillor Weston's concern about Colcan being taken out of the equation. I remember going back to 2004 when the decision was made that Colcan and Holbrook would share the meetings. I think there was a lot of worth in that decision, and I'd hate to see it just be walked over. I would suggest that possibly an amendment might be forthcoming in the sense that while we might approve the setting up of this room for the purpose in Holbrook, that at the same time we might also apply for a grant, given that we're somewhat unique as a council in terms of how we do meet, where we do meet, and that the government might have to come to the party on providing the second facility, because I don't think they realise just how Greater Hume operates. If the General Manager could probably summarise that into an amendment, I'd be quite happy to move it.
Well, do we make it an amendment of 0.5?
Or 0.5 if you like.
0.5 that we investigate avenues for funding to install a similar technology system at Colcan.
That will suffice.
Council chambers at Colcan. If the mover and seconder.
I would like to have in front of Avenue outside, just to emphasise that we're not looking for avenues within our own.
Well,
Mover and seconder happy with that?
Making the screen a little bit bolder and a little bit bigger or not? Thank you. Yes, even my beady eyes can read it now. Thanks, Margaret.
The recommendation now with the amendments. Any further discussion? Prepared to vote? Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item number... No, it was... Item number 2, signing of the contract for licence to occupy Unit 8, Clark Court. Thank you, Councillor Knight and Councillor Parker. Any discussion? Those in favour? Thank you. Carried. Item number 3, the sale of land for unpaid rates under Section 713 of the Local Government Act. Thank you. Moved Councillor Hicks, seconded Councillor Parker. Do you wish to discuss or speak to? No. Any discussion? Councillor Parker? Yes,
Am I right? Sorry. So could you just familiarise me with whereabouts that block is, and why we only got one bit of, what was that, $100?
The block is in Wattle Street. So Wattle Street is the most southern street in Culcairn.
Yep.
Running along the Billabong Creek on the eastern side of the railway line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, it's a bit surprising they only got a bid for $100, but it's an unusual block in that it's, the building area on it is quite small and it falls away quite quickly to the Billabong Creek.
Right.
And I would have thought that the sale price that we've achieved is probably more in line with its value.
Mm. Thank you.
Could I ask, Madam
yes,
Mayor, how long a period of time has this been going on, General Manager?
Well, with I think this property was actually sold for unpaid rates previously as well. But you've got to have a sale of land for unpaid rates. You've got to have unpaid rates for either a period of 5 years, or for lowly valued land until such time as the rates outstanding are higher than the valuation. That's basically the two clauses within the current Act where you can sell property for unpaid rates. So with this one, we try to have a sale of land for unpaid rates about every second year when we've got sufficient properties to make it worthwhile, maybe every second or third year. So I would say that in this particular case that the rates would have been outstanding for 5 or 6 years. No.
we had the vote on that. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item number 4, the determinations of the Local Government Remuneration Tribunal. Mayor and Councillor fees. Councillor Hicks and Councillor Quinn. Any discussion? All happy? Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item number 5, Native Title Manager's Advice with the regards to primitive camping ground at Walbundry.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Meyer and Councillor Hicks. Do you wish to speak? Councillor Quinn.
Question, Madam Mayor, to whoever the appropriate officer is, that are the answers to these little problems sort of at hand, or do they have to be researched, or is it just a matter of cut and paste so that things are printed that way?
Through you, Madam Mayor, no, there needs to be some research undertaken. Myself and Suzanne Klemke, the Manager of Corporate Services, undertook some training in how to do the searches, and you've got to go right back, even right back through old parish maps and so on, to determine the history of the parcel of land, and in particular when the when the reservation status was gazetted and so on and so forth. So it's not necessarily a cut and paste. Most of them are pretty straightforward, but there's still some title searching and going back through old parish maps and so on. It has to be undertaken. Yeah, but you can do it all online. We're not sort of going through the old dusty books anymore, which is good. So.
I'd move the recommendation of the Southern Sports Academy contribution.
I'm happy to second it. Thanks.
Those all in favour? Carried. Thank you. It's the first time in a couple of years.
I found it interesting that they came from such a range of different areas across the Shire, and to see a couple of young women interested in AFL again. It's certainly an up and rising sport, and I'm glad to see it happening here.
So move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Second. Any comments, councillors? No. Prepared to vote? Oh, Councillor Meyer, you wish to speak?
No, Madam
No.
Mayor, it's
Prepared-
self-explanatory.
Prepared to vote? Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Item referred to closed council. So moved. Thank you. Councillor Hicks moved, and Councillor Parker. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Officers' reports to be received and noted, Part B and C maybe? And D.
So move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Where's
Madam
the-
Mayor, can I just make one comment before we move off?
Yes, you may.
The Part C reports in particular. I'm sort of diverting from normal procedure a little bit, I suppose, but I'd just like to make particular reference to the Children's Services report, and the fact that we've been able to keep all of our centres operating during COVID-19. And, you know, just a vote of thanks, I suppose, to the staff involved in what they've done. You know, I think that for a few of them, it's starting to tell a little bit at the moment. And, you know, a vote of thanks would go a long way for, you know, their morale and so on within that team. So,
Yeah. Yes, I actually think it's been quite a tricky time for the staff especially. And there's been a lot of uncertainty for parents and carers of children who go to our centres. And, you know, a lot of times they didn't know whether they're going to be on their head or their heels. And a lot of them absolutely rely on the children's services in our shire. And it's a great service that we have, and we need to value it and keep it going as long as we possibly can. I don't think we should be even considering doing anything other than encouraging everybody who works there.
you know, unfortunately, the changes keep coming because, you know, the normal payment arrangements have been reinstated now as of Monday. So again, you know, it's uncertain times in relation to the impact on families of that change and how that's going to flow through in attendances at the centres. And, you know, the staff there are really at the coalface and having to deal with the stress and anxiety of families and so on. So it's been a really difficult time for them. And certainly for Fiona Pattinson, our team leader, you know, she's worked just tirelessly over the last few months, and I've certainly noticed over the last few days even, it's really starting to tell on her.
Question, Madam Mayor, to the Director. Over all this year there's been a bit of a rollover of staff. Is that because they're sort of moving up the scale and looking for other jobs, or what?
We've been undertaking a lot of recruitment for children's services, and it's really to boost the staffing complement more than anything. It's not so much that we're replacing people, we're trying to get people into positions at our centres. That's the struggle at the moment. You know, we can run an ad and get no applicants, or, you know, one or two that may or may not be suitable. So we've been forced to be almost continually advertising for children's services staff over the last few months, just to give us some capacity, particularly around redundancy when staff are off sick and so on and so forth, which there has been a lot over recent months. You know, there's been a lot of staff who, for various reasons, haven't wanted to be at work. They've chosen to stay at home because of, you know, they perceived a risk and so on to their own family. So that's caused a lot of absences within the staffing. And it's just an ongoing issue for us to recruit adequate numbers of staff in that sector. And you know, we're not alone. It's a fact across the industry as a whole that, you know, suitably qualified childcare staff are hard to come by.
Yes, please, Madam Mayor. Have we seen a decline in the numbers of enrolments so far?
Not yet, no. Look, certainly we had a significant dip very early on, you know, around April or thereabouts. Then they built back up again. And certainly over the last month or so, we've almost been back to normal numbers. I suspect that there will be a bit of a drop-off over the next little while, simply because, you know, there's probably a lot of families have made use of the free childcare, and, you know, when they have to start paying for it again, where they had 4 days, they might only have 3 or 2 days.
And they were aware that that was coming back in, weren't they? Well aware. And my other question or suggestion is it worth us or council putting on like a lunch or a morning tea for the facilities, like to say thanks?
Yeah, that's something we could certainly look at. I think they'd really appreciate it, yeah.
You know, we possibly should have done that for all the council staff that helped during the fires as well, to be honest, but that's...
Yeah.
I mean, we've been through some tough times.
Mm.
Just a suggestion, that's all.
Yep.
Engineering number 1 in the B section. If Riverina Water took over Colcan's water supply, it'd save the taxpayers a lot of money.
So, your comment again?
If Riverina Water took over the water supply, it'd save the taxpayers a lot of money.
All right, you're prepared to vote, councillors? Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Matters of urgency? No. Committee of the Whole? Convened
So moved,
for the
Madam.
purpose of determining the report of the matter dealt with in the committee. Councillor Meyer? Oh. Oh, sorry. Will I repeat? No? Right. Councillor Meyer and Councillor Hicks. All those in favour? Thank you. And then we have a recommendation of the closed committee be resolved that the foregoing report and recommendation from the closed committee of the whole be adopted. Councillor Knight and Councillor O'Neill. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Yes, I will read out the recommendation. Bring it up. That council approve the submission of an application through the New South Wales Department of Planning, Industry and Environment's low-cost loan initiative for a subsidised loan of $1.5 million for a 24-lot residential subdivision at Culcairn. And part 2, should council's application for a low-cost loan be successful, a further report be presented to council. All right. There being no further business, the meeting concluded at 7:43 p.m. 6:50.